Hello, I'm Chris from Discount Aquarium Reef, Fish and Reef in Tempe, Arizona, and today we're going to talk about how to keep your acrylic tank in good shape without scratching it and keep it clean. 9 times out of 10 when you look at a used acrylic tank, it's going to be scratched up. People just don't know how to take care of them, so we're going to take care of that right now. Give you all the things that you need to know to make sure you keep that acrylic in good shape. First off, your sand that's in the bottom of the tank. When you go to clean the inside of your tank, and I recommend doing that once a week with the acrylic, do not use this tool, but use a good scraper or anything that's not going to have a pad like this to move that sand away from the front acrylic. So you're going to want to move all the sand away from the front and away from the sides. This way, whatever we're using to clean, we're not going to get down into the sand and end up having a piece of sand scratching our acrylic. After you do this, it's important that you wait about 30 minutes, let all the particulates settle so that you don't have any in the water column, even if you don't see it. Give it about 30 minutes and then you can go to cleaning. As far as scraping acrylic, make sure you have a scraper that has an acrylic safe blade on it. If you do, it's fine to use that scraper. When you're doing it, don't go back down into that sand that you've scraped away from the front. If you haven't got it completely away from the front, you don't want to stir any of that up, but you can use a scraper. When you buy acrylic pads or you buy something like this, make sure they're made for acrylic and not glass. They're going to say right on them, for acrylic aquariums. Those are going to be safe. Stuff like this, you don't want to buy used. The expense is very low. There can be particles or sand like you can see in this one that you're not going to want to have in there. If you treat yours well and don't get it down into the sand, you'll get a long time of use out of it and not scratch your tank with it. As far as scrapers go, keep your blade in good condition. I recommend about every couple months replacing with a new plastic blade. You just don't want that blade to get rough or get a nick in it or anything that's going to cause you to scratch that tank. These are only about $3, so replace the blades on your scraper when needed. As far as magnets go, make sure you buy a cleaning magnet that says acrylic safe. Most of them, like this one, will come with both an acrylic and a glass scraper blade if they're built with a scraper. If they come with both of those, then the pads on them is safe for acrylic, but they will say for acrylic or glass on them. So you want to make sure that your scraper or your magnet cleaner with a pad has acrylic pads on it. These are kind of expensive. It's fine to buy a used one, but you are going to want to buy a little packet of replacement pads because older pads may have some sand or whatnot. You don't want to risk anything, so replace the pads on that sponge. Also, I recommend replacing those pads about every 3 months just to make sure you have good condition, nothing got in them. And on an acrylic tank, I know it's easier to leave the magnet in the tank. I recommend each time you clean, you take that magnet out of the inside of the tank, let it dry out, set it aside until the next time you use it. The reason for this is they can get buildup on them over time, algae, whatnot from sitting in the tank, and we don't want that to happen with an acrylic tank especially. Also, all these recommendations for acrylic tank cleaning, you should take that precaution if you have one of the newer low iron tanks. Low iron glass is much clearer, but it's also softer than glass that has iron in it. So you're going to want to treat it like acrylic. It will not scratch as easy as acrylic, but it will scratch easier than standard glass aquariums. I said before, don't let that algae build up on the tank. About once a week, you're going to want to do this inside tank cleaning. Even if it looks clean, run through it a little bit. It won't take you very much time because if you allow coralline algae to build up in the tank, it takes a lot of scraping. You don't have a metal scraper, so it's harder with a softer plastic scraper, and you're more likely to end up scratching something, scrubbing away, trying to get that out. So don't let the coralline especially build up on that. If for some reason you did slip and you got coralline building up on there, I recommend getting a product like AlgaFix, not so much for treating to keep algae down in this case, but I find when you use this the day before, the coralline will be loosened up a little bit on the glass and a little bit easier to get off. As far as the outside of the tank is concerned, you don't want to use glass cleaner. Over time, glass cleaner can cause acrylic to not be quite as shiny and quite as clear. And also, glass cleaner does not have one thing that your acrylic cleaner has, which is a static guard. If you remember the old days, you might not be as old as me, I just turned 60, but if you remember the old days, we used to have turntables that we played records on because we didn't have CDs and tapes and stuff like that. They always had a plastic cover over the top, and that thing would get covered with dust. It was like a dust magnet. Well, that's because acrylic and plastic has a static charge. That static charge attracts dust. So if you use a good acrylic cleaner, you're not going to get as much dust on the outside of your tank, especially bigger particles that may end up scratching while you're cleaning. So I recommend, even if it's not dirty, at least once a week, use a product like PlexiClean. I get this at Ace Hardware. It's actually extremely cheap. It's $3 or $4. And this has an anti-static formula, no streaks, repels dust, cuts grease. What else can you ask for? That's about it on keeping your acrylic in great shape. Just treat it kindly, use all these tips, and you'll have a great looking acrylic tank for years to come. When you buy an acrylic tank, make sure it hasn't been messed up, because buffing is difficult, takes a lot of time. Keep shopping until you find a used one that hasn't been scratched up. Thanks for watching today. If you do have any questions for us on anything, if you have a video topic you'd like us to cover, if you have a topic you'd like us to write an article about, we do all those things. We present all that stuff on our social media. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have our website, we have YouTube channel with all our videos. You can just look us up under Discount Aquarium Fish and Reef and find all those ways to get in touch with us. Thanks for watching today.